यत्र काले तु अनावृत्तिम् आवृत्तिं चैव योगिनः प्रयातयान्ति तं कालं yakshami bharatarshavaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, one does or does not come back. Purport. The unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord who are totally surrendered souls do not care when they leave their bodies or by what method. They leave everything in Krishna's hand and so easily and happily return to Godhead. But those who are not unalloyed devotees and who depends instead on such method of spiritual realizations as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, etc., must leave the body at a suitable time and thereby be assured whether or not they will return to the world of birth and death. If the yogi is perfect, he can select the time and place for leaving this material world. But if he is not so perfect, then he has to live at nature's will. The most suitable time to leave the body and not return to is being explained by the Lord in these verses. According to Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushana, the Sanskrit word Kala used herein refers to the presiding deity of time. We'll be covering the next verse as well because they both are connected to each other. Agnirjyotir aha shuklah sanmasha uttarayanaha tatra prayata gachanti brahma vido janaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Those who know the Supreme Brahman pass away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment, during the fortnight of the moon and the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Purport. When fire, light, day and moon are mentioned, it is to be understood that over all of them there are various presiding deities who make arrangements for the passage of the soul. At the time of death, the jiva set forth on the path to new life. If one leaves the body at the time designated above, either accidentally or by arrangement, it is possible for him to attain the impersonal Brahmajyoti. Mystics who are advanced in yoga practice can arrange the time and place to leave the body. Others have no control if by accident they leave at an auspicious moment. They will not return to the cycle of birth and death. But if not, then there is every possibility that they will have to return. However, for the pure devotees in Krishna consciousness, there is no fear of returning, whether he leaves the body at an auspicious or inauspicious moment, by accident or by arrangement. The sense of Bhaktivedanta purport. So, it's very important section where Krishna is explaining about at what point we leave this body, what time we leave the body, and what are the different destinations we are going to achieve in our life. So, it explains in the previous verse, Yatra kale tu anavrittam avrittam chaiva yoginaha. Yatra kale tu anavrittim avrittim cha eva yoginaha. Prayata yanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshabaha. So, yatra kale means the time. Yatra kale to anavrittim. Anavrittim means does not return to this world. Avrittim cha eva yoginaha. Avrittim means return. Anavrittim means no return. Avrittim means return back to this world. Cha eva yoginaha prayata. Cha eva yogina means the yogi, a person who has been performing different types of mystic yoga, which includes karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga and bhakti yoga. Paryata yanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshabaha. So one very important theme what comes out of these verses the power of time and the power of our consciousness. It is said that when we enter into this world, we enter into a particular time when we just comes out of the womb of mother, and that is noted as time of birth. And there are different debates when what exactly is considered as time of birth. Some people says the moment the baby comes out of mother's womb, that is to be considered as time of birth. Some people says when the child takes independent breath in this world, that is considered time of birth. Some people says when child cries, that point of time it is considered time of birth. But it is given in the Shastras that the right time of birth is when the baby takes the independent breath in this world. That is when the life starts. So, in the womb of a mother, the child was taking breath with the help of mother because still the baby was connected to the mother. But the moment the child takes independent breath, that very moment his independent life starts. And why it is so? Why it is considered to be very important that first breath? The reason is our span of life in this world or in this particular body is not defined by the number of years I am going to live. So, according to the Shastric principles, it is not that my age is defined as number of years I am going to live. No. It is defined by how many breaths I will take in this body. How many breaths I am going to inhale and how many breaths I am going to exhale. That is what it defines the lifespan, not the years in itself. And that is why we know certain yogis who can increase the span of their life. And the reason is because if you slow down your breath by the practice of pranayama, actually you are increasing your lifespan. Slow breath, increasing lifespan. The people who really work very hard and they exhaust themselves and they really live a very shallow life because of having shallow breath, they tend to leave this body earlier than they were designated to. This is one thing. Second thing is that kala, the time, in itself is a personality. Sometimes we don't understand the power of time. Time is very powerful. And the reason time is very powerful, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kalo Asmi Aham, in the 10th chapter, that the time is my impersonal representation. It is not the fact what science explains to us. It is not rate of change of activities. The science explains the rate of change of activities, not that time. Okay, I am doing this work at this point of time. When I change my work or I progress in the activity of my work, time is changing. It's not because of my activities forcing the time to change. It is other way around. Because of time, I am forced to do certain activities. We say we are killing the time. We can never kill the time. Actually, time is killing us. In that sense, the very important theme or the very important principle what comes out of this verse is time is a force. If right time has not come, you will not have that experience what we are looking for in us in our life. If you see, everything in our life gets stored in time. As a baby, it's like a seed. And when we sow the seed into the earth, you would see that after 5 years, after 10 years, fruit will come. So after a particular time, the fruit will start coming out of the tree, right? It is not that as soon as you sow the seed, it will give you the fruits. But the very moment you sow the seed, from that time related to that, you can see when the fruit is going to come. Similarly, when we take birth as a baby, like seed has come into this world, and we are going to get nurtured, we are going to get watered, we are going to get all those nutritions which is required for me to grow, and at different times different things will start coming up. For an example, the as soon as the baby is born, the baby does not know how to walk or how to run, but that does not mean the baby does not have capability to walk. The baby has the capability to walk, but it is not manifesting in itself, it is not coming out. And at a certain age, you would see how that capability to walk comes out with the help of practice. Some people we would see at different times they acquire different skill and suddenly it comes to them. I know one of my friend that although he was a great singer and he sings like brilliantly, but till one point of time he was not able to discover whether he sings properly or not. That ability to sing get surfaced up at one point of time in his life. A person becomes wealthy or acquires certain things at a particular time, get married at a particular time. So in that sense, it is not me who is manifesting those activities. It is already been stored in the time. Like a, for an example, it's like a dynamic movie. For a 3 hour movie, the director knows that after 1 hour, which scene is going to come. After 2 hours, which scene is going to come. Director knows about it. And we who is experiencing this movie may wonder, oh, from where it has come now. It was already there. And that's why we see sometimes we get premonitions, deja vu. Oh, this situation seems to be that I have experienced it before. It was already there. But the only differences in the movie and our life is other movie was static, this is more dynamic. So, based upon my previous lifetime's free will, I have choose this particular life, and all those things got stored in this particular frame of particular time span. But based upon my today's free will, I can make some changes in that. That is very much possible. That is why my free will comes into the picture. And that is why it is said that although there are certain things which you cannot change, but there are certain things which you can change. And certain things which you can change, which is not stored in time, is the death. How do we leave this body? Is not stored in the time. The time, particular time, may be defined. Okay, after 70 years I would leave this body. But how, in what state I am going to leave this body is not defined. And it depends how you have lived the life, how you have accepted the life, how you have transformed yourself through the life, what lessons you have learned through the life. Life thrown some situation to you, and how did you respond it back? So based upon my aggregate response over a period of time, over this lifetime, what this Kala has brought me in front of me, we would be defining how I am going to leave this body. And it is said here that in the previous verses we were discussing that how if we leave this body in a particular consciousness, in a particular state of consciousness, what you are thinking at the time of death, that is what we become. Antakale cha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram. That is what Krishna has already explains in this chapter. It means that now Krishna is talking about that particular time. And the reason Krishna is talking about time is because we have still not completely surrendered to the Lord. So, although a person may tried treading on the path of yoga, still we may have some sort of some sort of dependence on my own strength. And it is because of my own strength I am walking on this path. And the moment even there is an iota of dependence on your own strength, which proportionately means lack of surrender, to that degree we are still be going to control by time. So if we have not developed that complete surrender, that complete attachment, that complete humility that I am nothing without the mercy of the Lord, till that point of time, still I remains under the control of time. And it is going to define what I am going to become in the next lifetime. That is what is explained here. So if you see, that is why some people, especially who perform a lot of spiritual activities and a lot of yoga principles, for them it's very very important that they leave this body at a particular time. If they don't, then they are not going to achieve the perfection. That is about the Astanga yogis who still depends on their own strength. Versus in Bhakti Yoga, we depends on the Lord's strength. This lifetime is being given to us based upon my karma. But if we do all our karma for Krishna's purpose, not for my purpose, that karma is no more a karma. And that karma does not bind us. So if it had to bind you, then you are still under the jurisdiction of time. You are still bounded by the time. So you cannot decide by yourself. Your free will is still curtailed. So that is the difference between destiny and the free will. Destiny get formed, material destiny, based upon what kind of material karma I perform. But free will increases, which can overshadow your destiny based upon how much surrendered I am to the Lord and how seriously I am practicing developing those desire to be always in the association of the Lord. The whole fundamental idea is, if we depends on our strength, then in what state, in what time, in what place you're going to leave this body is going to define the next lifetime. And we do not know, because this is a very complex thing. At a particular time, in a particular state, we cannot be certain whether we'll have good life or whether we'll have not so good life. And it is said that these critical movements generally are out of our control. It is a verse which comes in Bhagavatam that Ante Narayana Smritihi. The perfection of life is to be able to remember Narayana at the time of death. Because when we remember the Lord, when we are able to chant Hare Krishna or the Krishna's name, when we are leaving this body, we go back to Krishna. There is a perfection of human form of life. But where is the certainty how I am going to leave this body? I am driving, suddenly something may happen. In our temple, in Sunday program, we had one person who was sitting and attending a class, what we were having on 2nd chapter 47th verse. He was sitting nicely and he was able to chant, and suddenly he started feeling numbness into his left leg. And as he stood up, he was not able to stand. He was kind of shivering. And suddenly somebody came and gave him one chair. And then when he sat, he drank water. Still he was shivering. Left leg was kind of completely numb, and he had some food and just rushed to emergency, urgent care. Seeing his condition, urgent care said you have to go to emergency. And when he had gone to emergency, he said he was just about to be dying, because it was a symptom of a heart attack. How you was sweating, how your body was becoming numb, how you was shivering. Because for long sitting, he had some ligament on his left leg, and he was just completely getting pressurized because of sitting. And he was not even aware what's happening in the body. You see? So we do not know. It is not in our control. We may think that things are under my control, or I am able to manipulate things, I am able to control things. But our own life is not under our control. What we will be able to control things? So we may think that I am able to achieve a lot of things in my life. That is why I may feel that sense of controllership. But it is not you. It is time is allowing you. Time is allowing you to do certain things based upon your past karma. But we should never ever mistakenly think that it is me who is doing something, or I am able to execute something, I am able to achieve something. The moment we think like this, then they will keep on expanding, and the time will come when things will be not under your control, and then it will be a cause of greatest frustration, because every coin has two sides. If I think that this is happening because of me, then when thing doesn't happen, you would think that it is not happening because of me, and you would feel a great amount of disappointment. When thing goes your way, you feel happy. When thing doesn't go your way, you feel sad. So this spike of pleasure and pain, pleasure, pain keeps going on, and we are like being kicked like a football up and down. Our consciousness. The moment we try to control things. So not that we should not try to control things in the sense that we should not try to keep things arranged. We can make plans. We can try to keep things arranging as much as possible. But beyond a certain time, we have to just things let go, because things are not under my control. If we can let the things goes, whatever, and accept whatever time throws at us, and we develop that great acceptance and not resist the situation, then you see we'll be very much happy, and we are able to make the best use of the bad bargain. We are able to use that situation to my ultimate benefit. So because ultimate benefit is not going to come by achieving certain thing in this world, the ultimate benefit is going to come by achieving something which is going to make me transcend from this world. The whole philosophy revolves around this, that yes, I may have a lot of fundamental things in my life which are working fine, which may not be working fine. But if you take it very seriously, then the problem will starts. So we should not take things too seriously in this world, because it doesn't worth taking too seriously. Sometime it is there, sometime it's not there. When it's there, you enjoy it. When it's not there, accept it. It's your own karma, and that's fine. You may have certain capabilities. You may not have certain capabilities. So it's not about becoming perfect, but using for a perfect cause, which is more important. It's very, very important. It's not important to have perfect life. Nobody can have perfect life. Nobody can have perfect figure. Nobody can have perfect wealth. Nobody can have perfect relationships. Nobody can have perfect health. There is nothing like perfect exists in this world. It's about how can I use everything which is been given to me for a perfect cause. And what is perfect cause? The perfect cause is that I get liberated from this world. That's a perfect cause. That how perfectly I am going to live this body, not how perfectly I am living this world in this world. So perfectly living in this world or perfectly leaving this world, they both are two different things. When we are able to perfectly leave this world is much more important than perfectly living in this world, because it's not possible. So that's how we understand this beautiful verse, and we'll be understanding much more details in the next upcoming verses.